All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, 𝗪𝗀, and as always, we're going to be diving into the markets, but more so, despite the choppiness, despite the sideways activity, my sentiment really hasn't changed since the last show. But one thing I want to talk about is I think people sometimes are, when you're searching through crypto, it's a hard time putting together the exact correct portfolio split. And today's portfolio split that I'm going to give you is going to allocate between Bitcoin, different types of sectors, different types of risk levels that I think will give you a very well-balanced approach to this next cycle, exactly how to structure your portfolio, exactly what projects to put in which baskets, and the risk-reward ratios that those provide you to potentially put together a legitimate 100x potential portfolio for the next cycle. I'm not going to give you the exact projects to place in this. I will give you examples, but this is more so the skeleton that I think you should potentially be working with heading into the next cycle. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. And as always, drop down and hit the like button here on the show. Helps us get in front of more viewers who are bullish on crypto gaming, and the future of this industry, just like yourself. And subscribe to the channel for more every single day here on Banter. Shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game as well. We have Bybit, one of the leading exchanges for traders across the entire crypto industry that tailors to international customers. If you're a US customer, you can go ahead and sign up on the link below for 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, where you will be able to trade in the US. So with the KYC issues, that has been a big deal lately. So 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕 or Bybit down below for any traders or anyone who needs an exchange in whether you're international or US. NordVPN, always navigate the blockchain securely. Use a VPN down below with NordVPN. And last but not least, Vulcan Forge, one of the leading blockchain gaming studios, infrastructures in the entire space. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Once again, I'm not going to talk about news today. I'm not going to talk about really anything other than the way I think that you should be potentially aiming to structure your portfolios based on your risk tolerance. There's a lot of different ways you could go. There's people who want to go with 100% Bitcoin portfolios. There's people who go all in on Ethereum. There's some people who go all in on small cap altcoins. And, that's a pretty risky way. You're either going to get wrecked with a small cap that doesn't do well, or you're going to miss some upside. If Bitcoin does a 5x, you're going to miss that upside of altcoins doing potential 10, 20x's during the next cycle. So now is the time to kind of reassess those positions and kind of figure out exactly where to place your bags, what percentages you should have, and the way to set yourself up for the maximum upside exposure throughout the entire market cycle that is to come in 2024, 2025. So we're going to jump right into it. I think that a staple of every portfolio, and I think that, so hang on in the chat, is the bull market over already? We are not in a bull market. I don't think we're in a bull market right now. We're not even close to a bull market. Altcoins aren't doing much. I would definitely say we are not in a bull market. But what's up, everybody in the chat? Good to see you guys here. And I'll take some questions throughout. So I'll keep an eye on the chat box. I think first and foremost, guys, the first thing you should be allocated towards is Bitcoin. Now, a couple things here. If you only have $5,000 to put into the market, I don't think that Bitcoin is the best spot. You only have 1/6 of a Bitcoin. And yes, it's valuable to have some Bitcoin exposure. But at the same time, based on your size, if you're only trading with $5,000, I don't know that putting away into Bitcoin with $5,000 is going to get you that return that you might be looking for. And then you're going to be looking around, you're going to be seeing all the FOMO out there. So if you're trading with a super small amount and you have a long-term portfolio with a smaller amount, then maybe you could leave Bitcoin on the sideline. But if you're looking to put together a rock solid portfolio, I think that Bitcoin legitimately should be about 25% of your portfolio. What this does is it gives you that upside exposure for stuff like what we see today, presidential candidate RFK Jr. announces a plan to back the US dollar with Bitcoin if he's elected in 2024. Now that's very speculative, but these type of things are continuing. We're seeing emerging nations across the world adopting Bitcoin. Bitcoin is that gold of the blockchain. This is the digital gold. And I think that having at least 25% of your portfolio in Bitcoin is a rock solid staple. It has so much upside potential for the future. People are calling for 140,000, eventually 200,000, eventually 500,000, right? And these are just what like the big firms and institutions predict for Bitcoin over the next 5 to 10 years. So I think having that exposure to Bitcoin, which could give you a legitimate 3 to 5x over a few years' time, it's a safe, very low risk, but high reward play. And at the top half of your portfolio, that is going to keep you very sturdy in that range. So number two is going to be the blue chips / the large cap altcoins. Now, here's what I would consider blue chips, right? Ethereum. I loved Miles's thesis on Ethereum. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. But Miles's thesis on Ethereum is that, Bitcoin is digital gold and Ethereum is like oil. Oil is needed to fuel the blockchain. All these layer 2s, et cetera, they're all built off of Ethereum. So I think Ethereum's essential in your bags. Maxilis says, what is a rock solid portfolio? 100K or 100 millions? A rock solid portfolio is based off the projects that you invest in. You can turn any dollar amount into profits in this market, but you just need to be in the right projects, right? We try to guide you here every single day on in the game, and we've had some major wins recently. Most recently with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 projects you're allocated in, not more about the dollar amount that you're invested. So blue chips and large cap altcoins. So I'm thinking you need to have some exposure to the Ethereums. And in my thesis, I'm bullish on gaming. I'm bullish on NFTs, the metaverse, business, real world partnerships. So I have stuff in my bags like Polygon, like Avalanche with their Avalanche subnets, working with TSM, working with some of the biggest games, working with the Google Cloud, Tencent. They have so many different partnerships with Avalanche that I want the upside exposure in the future. Stuff like Solana, I think, has a huge future ahead. And we've been seeing it recently. Solana's been absolutely ripping. It's up to, 20% over the last 7 days once again. So I think the blockchains, the infrastructure of the entire blockchain, stuff like Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Solana, I think eventually for me, I want to get some exposure to 𝗓𝗏𝗋, which is going to be powering tons of different games, right? But not just blockchains. I consider stuff like Render a blue chip. I think Render is one of the best businesses in Web3. They have some of the best real world integrations already live. Their product is being pushed in different animations, different videos, etc. So I'm looking at Render as a blue chip. I'm looking at stuff like 𝗕𝗏𝗄 as an emerging blue chip. Like, I think if you're putting together these types of projects that are emerging industries, emerging sectors, with stuff like gaming, with the polygons and the immutables, stuff like computing, metaverse, AI with Render, stuff like 𝗕𝗏𝗄, and AI stuff like Ocean. Ocean's a little more speculative. So we're going to maybe bring this back to the end here. But I think those blue chips should account for 40% of your portfolio. Now, what this is going to do, now, this is me. This is my risk tolerance. This is how I'm going to make my structured portfolio for the next run. My risk tolerance is higher. I'm willing to allocate more to the blue chips and to gaming, etc., than I am to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin could do a 3x, 5x, but in the meantime, altcoins are going to do a 5, 10, 20x whenever that time comes. So you want ample exposure to all of those different sectors. So these mid to high cap market caps of the blue chips and the high cap, that is going to be, once again, a rock solid foundation that has low downside, but tons of upside, especially if you allocate into quality projects like Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Solana, Render, Caspa, etc. All right, let's go ahead and dive in to the third sector in this portfolio. What coin will do 20x? I'll talk about a few that I think could 20x here at the end of the show once we get there, because that's going to be in the last sector of this portfolio. The third of the four sectors of my 100x portfolio skeleton. Like I said, this is the skeleton. I'm giving you guys the framework. This is not the exact portfolio that you should be putting together, but these are all examples of the projects that fit within this skeleton. So the third piece, the third body sector of this skeleton that we're putting together here is gaming. So if you watch this show, you know I'm super bullish on Web3 gaming. Web3 gaming has raised over $500 million in 2023. And if you look into some of the, just the months in USD here, the investments in Web3 gaming projects, I mean, it's pretty impressive within the depths of a bear market that this industry is flourishing. Games like Illuvium, Shrapnel, Off the Grid, Star Atlas, Wildcard, Mavia, Wagme Games, they're all coming to the forefront. But more than betting on individual games, I'm going to use Rand's quote of invest in the picks and shovels. So I'm looking at the picks and shovels rather than trying to mine the gold. Now, my theory here is that when you're investing in games, so many I use this example quite a bit, but the VCs out there, I can't imagine how much money was burned by these VCs who were all after the Fortnite craze, trying to say, where's the next Fortnite? Where's the next Fortnite? 20 million here, 20 million here, right? And then all of a sudden they're out of capital because they literally just tried to pick out of a huge basket what's going to be the next big thing. And that's really hard to do. So what I would rather do, rather than trying to pick the next Fortnite, I'd rather try to pick the next Activision, Riot Games, Epic Games, those types of publishers in the space, the distribution platforms. Whereas if one hit game comes out of these platforms, you're going to have exposure to that game, and then you have exposure to the studio or the infrastructure that produced the game. So whenever a studio like a Gala Games, a Vulcan Forged, Ultra, Magic, I think between these three ecosystems, you have about 30 right now with Gala. I think there's about 13 games with Vulcan Forged. You have over 150 plus games already on Ultra. And then I believe about 20 games here on Magic. So just within here, you have exposure to over 200 games. So without having to put money in 200 games, you're putting money into 4 projects. TK Naka has 200. Yeah, and Naka will fall into the last category here in my list, as there are the gaming alts. There are these gaming studios. That is what I'm allocated a lot towards. I have just as much gaming alt as I do Bitcoin. I'm 25% of my portfolio I would allocate towards those strictly gaming altcoins. The stuff like Gala, Vulcan, Ultra, Magic, the high-level platforms that are going to be pushing games for years to come and have multi-pillars in their ecosystem. NFT marketplaces, DEXs, swaps, staking, games, their own blockchains. Gala Chain's about to launch, like publicly launch an app soon. So all of these platforms with their own chain, with their own ecosystem fully baked in, that's the type of stuff that I would bet more on within the gaming space, rather than trying to pick the next smash hit in a basket of 1,000 games. I think this is the way that you would lower your risk, but have tremendous upside whenever we actually see the gaming industry take off. It's been years. I know we've been waiting for Web3 gaming to materialize, but what people have to understand is Call of Duty, one game takes 3 years to make. They release a game every year, but there's 3 studios that work on Call of Duty. So whenever you look at that, you need to understand games take time. There's not going to be AAA games for a little bit. They are in production, and I do think they are on the way. So you just have to be patient. Giovanni, it was at the very beginning. So that's in my blue chips sector. So the blue chips are the blockchains, infrastructures, different higher cap platforms, and Immutable fell into that section. This is a blockchain. That's not going to fall into my technical gaming stack. When I'm betting on a Polygon and an Immutable or a Solana or an Avalanche, gaming has a piece of it, but gaming isn't the whole reason that I'm betting on these platforms, right? So Immutable falls in here with the blockchains, with the layer ones, layer twos, those types of projects. So IMX is in this skeleton, but it is not going to fall into the gaming alts. IMX doesn't make games. They are a blockchain that has games on it. So that is kind of my ideology there. So far, 25% Bitcoin, 40% blue chips. We're talking L1s, L2s, high cap altcoins with high level utility, stuff like Avalanche, Polygon, Solana, Render, Caspa, etc. So that is the first 65% of this skeleton. 25% is going into gaming altcoins. These gaming alts, you can potentially catch those 10, 20, 30 X's whenever this next bull market does come around. So this is giving you a really nice exposure to different levels of upside. And then we're going to get into the last 10%. If you're good at math, you would have picked up that there's 10% left. Well, that last 10%, where are we going to go with it? Well, I'm going to filter this to the low market caps, right? This is where you're going to make your hay. But the thing is you don't want to go too balls deep into these, for a lack of a better word. You don't want to be completely swimming in the low caps. You don't want to be the shitcoin trader on Twitter that's maybe hitting 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100 calls. This should be 10% of your portfolio. Speculative low caps with super high upside. So stuff to me, and this could fall into the blue chip category or high market cap, but I think Ocean Protocol is a little speculative. These AI coins are decently speculative. So I wouldn't be allocating a ton of capital towards those, but I think it's going to give you exposure to really high upside industries, but then more so on the low cap side. This is earlier someone asked, what coin can 20x? This coin can 20x. Altura can 100% 20x. This is absolutely a project at a $30 million market cap that will be at a multi-$100 million market cap. And yeah, as Tony says, the low caps, this is where you're going to catch those 20, 50, 100x's. And I'm not a 100x person. I don't like claiming that tokens can do that. But at the same time, we're seeing aggressive moves even in the bear, right? We called WAGMI Games, and it's up 359% over the last month. We called it on the show way back here, but specifically, we had a complete show about this token right here. And ever since then, it is up about 300%. That's in a bear. Imagine if the liquidity's coming in, retail's coming in, more money's coming into gaming. We have a complete gaming bull run. Stuff like this, which was a 10 million market cap, could have flipped into a multi-$100 million market cap. And then you all of a sudden had a 10, 20, 30, 40x on your hands very quickly. He forgets launch pads when we end the bull. That would be in my speculative tab. So this is where the speculation is, right? Launch pads are higher risk during a bear market. So if you're going to accumulate those, I would make it a smaller percentage of your portfolio. But the low caps, that I would say speculative low cap altcoins that would be lower allocations towards your portfolio, but probably have the highest upside potential. Like that 10% portion, if those altcoins moon, you're actually going to turn that 10% into a big chunk of your portfolio, right? So that's why a lower allocation, higher risk, but much higher upside here at that last 10%. Stuff like Altura, Veracity, Nakamoto Games falls into the category. I would say Seedify falls into this category. Stuff like RFox, stuff like WASDR. I think Phantasma, those are all fantastic projects to put in that last 10%. Those speculative low caps that could give you the absolute highest gain. But when you allocate the portfolio with only 10% of your capital, there's not that much downside, but you have tremendous upside in that portfolio. So guys, to recap, 25% of this 100x portfolio, I would recommend to go into Bitcoin. That is going to keep you level. It's going to keep you stable, and it is going to give you exposure to a couple of X's on the upside, right? But you want exposure to the stuff like the blue chips, the L1s, the big market cap projects that are also here to stay, but do have tremendous upside in a bull market. Stuff like Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Solana, Immutable, Render, Caspa. BNB seems to be out of your portfolio. I don't have a bag of BNB. I have gas on the BNB chain. I keep some tokens on the BNB chain, like Altura, stuff like that. But I'm not a big investor in BNB at the moment in time. No. So the blue chip L1s, stuff like this. And like I said, guys, this is not the portfolio. I'm giving you the skeleton. I'm giving you the framework. That's the whole point. So 25% Bitcoin, 40% blue chips, which I just laid out. 25% I would go into gaming alts, stuff like Gala, Vulcan Forged, Ultra, Magic. And then that last 10% goes into the super speculative, low market caps that could be volatile at any given time, but will provide you, pardon me, had a burp there, will provide you with the highest upside return. And at only 10% of your portfolio, it wouldn't hurt if you take a little hit in the short term for that long-term gain that 10% could turn into, as it could actually outgrow the rest of your portfolio. So that's my 100%, 100x portfolio allocation between 25% Bitcoin, 40% blue chips, 25% gaming alts, and 10% speculative low caps. I'll take 3 minutes of questions in the chat. UFO, I think it's the meme coin of crypto gaming, probably has a lot of upside, but not till the bull market. Superverse, I absolutely love what Elio does over there. I think that they're going to make it through the bear market, and with imposters, Gigamart, I think that Superverse has a bright future. Go all in on Link. Well, it's kind of been like the XRP with the sideways or downward activity, but hey, XRP made its way out of that. So maybe, yeah. I mean, Link's a great project. I got to say, Link's a great project, but the gains on it, I don't know. Thoughts on ICP? Not a fan. For all the OGs out there, when I hear ICP, I just think Insane Clown Posse, the diss track, Eminem. If you're an Eminem fan, you know what I'm talking about. Thoughts on INJ? It's a good project. It's not in my portfolio, but it is a good project. Ultra price prediction? Hard to say. I hate giving price predictions. I do think Ultra could potentially 10x in the bull run, though. About 600 million market cap. It's a 60 million market cap today. FINA, not really a fan of it. I think that's a last bull run token, personally. Neo Tokyo Bytes. I love Neo Tokyo. I'm a citizen. I'm a member of Neo Tokyo. I stake my citizen for Bytes. My only concern is more use cases for Bytes. I'm building a platform called Nexus Gaming, which has a launch pad on it. We actually are accepting Bytes on the platform. So there is utility for Bytes, but I think there's going to be needing more so people don't just sell their Bytes for yield. But I love Neo Tokyo. I think Bytes will do fine in the long haul. How about Magic Craft Gaming? It's a good project. I've talked to their team before. They're doing some cool things over there. There is no DeFi allocation. I would put DeFi into the blue chips. I mean, you're getting exposure to DeFi with Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Solana, stuff like Arbitrum if you want to get involved there. But no, I'm not investing in particular DeFi protocols. Because guys, here's, if you're trying to be a master of all, you're actually a master of none. Like, I'm focusing on the stuff that I really have a grip on, which is crypto gaming, which is infrastructure, which are blockchains that are getting activity. And that's where I make my hay. So for me, I'm not going to allocate into these different DeFi platforms. And then I'm not a master there, right? You need to become a master in your niches. There are riches in the niches. So I would just find your niche. For me, I'm not going to be betting on like Lido token and stuff like that because I'm just not, that's not my industry. It's just not what I specialize in. And honestly, like I've tried that in the past and it didn't work, right? When you're trying to go into security tokens, blockchains, DeFi, gaming, metaverse, AI, all these different things, you're going to get swamped because you're just rotating sectors, not really letting anything materialize. Have Magic, PYR, Gala, Vera, Theta in my gaming portfolio. Any additions? I think that's a really good gaming portfolio. I think on the low cap side, I would look at Altura. I think that Altura would be a nice low market cap addition to that could do some good multiples for you in the bull run. Great question, though, and I think it's a great allocation. Any worry about Altura being on BSC? No. I wish they were on a different chain for the token, but they're not some BSC shitcoin. So it's a little different. They're not like a Binance Smart Chain rug. They're legit. I wish the token was on different chains, though, personally. Thoughts on Oasis backed by Square Enix? I'll have to look more into it. Square Enix is making good moves in the Web3 gaming space, so I'll have to take a look at it. High Street, I think it'll come back when the metaverse narrative comes through. Why no LS DeFi? I already answered the DeFi question. Nana token, is that the game, the heists game? Isn't that the heist on Solana? I think it's kind of like a Ponzi game, though, no? Why does Banter never talk about XRP? I talked about XRP last week. Favorite gaming coin? Wow. Putting me in a real predicament here. Putting me in a real predicament here. That's hard. Gosh. Favorite gaming coin? Probably Vulcan Forged or Gala. I think that they're stable. I think they're better businesses in Web3. I'm not including Immutable or Polygon. Like if you had to ask me that, I would say Polygon, but more on the gaming side, probably Vulcan Forged or Gala Games. Senverse, I think it needs a little more activity, a little more sentiment behind it. What's the Bitcoin of gaming? Ooh, the Bitcoin of gaming. Polygon or IMX, most likely for the future. Yeah. Polygon or IMX, like talking about like things that will be powering tons of games that aren't actual gaming tokens, more like the Bitcoin of gaming. Yeah, I think Polygon or IMX. Yes, the heist. I played it for a bit. I don't see those games. I guess will always have a space. I'm just concerned that it might eventually become another Ponzi type of situation where the token goes to zero and the only people that win are the people that get in first and then sell first. What's up with Mobland? Tank continuously. No updates during the bear, unfortunately. Their team's working on some other stuff like Byte City and Mobland. So I think just be on the lookout for more updates from Mobland. Any view on MetaWare Hustle? I don't. I'll have to look into that one personally. 𝗙𝗚 was the Bitcoin of gaming last bull run. Yeah, like it's going to be hard. We don't know what's going to be the biggest winner. And that's the whole thing with gaming. It's hard to choose. Yeah, like it's really hard to choose what's going to be the biggest return. It'll probably be something we don't even know about yet. That's the crazy thing. We might not even know what that Bitcoin of gaming is. Staking, they stopped emissions on the heist. Oh, okay. Well, not too sure. I haven't been keeping up. Near Protocol, good project. Bearish on old gaming coins last bull run. Absolutely. Like, guys, I wouldn't be betting on the D races. I wouldn't be betting on like Defina. I wouldn't be betting on these high speculation Dayton arenas. Like, I wouldn't be betting on those. You need to make sure that they're still getting the traction, the users, the sentiment, the community, and still building. And a lot of these games, they won't do the numbers that they did last bull, this coming bull. So I definitely think I'm bearish on a lot of the coins from that cycle. but there's a slim few that made it through. 𝗪𝗏 sidechain has bigger TVL than Solana. I'm bullish on Ronin in the future. More for the bull run, though, because there are a lot of emissions and stuff like that. So I like Ronin as a project, but maybe not as an investment today. Was late to render, but been DCAing these dips. Love it. 𝗪𝗓 DeFi Kingdoms, good project. And they have a big catalyst coming up in September. I think that when you look at the future of DeFi Kingdoms, they're another one of those types of games that will never die. And an upcoming one, keep an eye out, 𝗪𝗏𝗃. It's going to be on 𝗪𝗏𝗃. 𝗪𝗏𝗃 has all the liquidity at this moment in time, and it's like DeFi Kingdom. So keep your eyes out on that too. SPS, Splinterlands, yeah, they'll never die. Kind of like Gods Unchained. I think card games are here to stay. This show is so solid. Thank you so much, Allison. Data has a future. I wish I saw more updates from them. However, what about Citus? Good game, good project, good team, big funding. They'll probably make it through. All right, guys. I am sell mana to buy magic. I would never tell you to sell something to buy another. I don't like Decentraland, however. I don't own any Decentraland. I think that Decentraland's a piece of crap as a project. So that's up to your risk tolerance. That's up to what you like. How come you avoid my question? Outer Ring? I would need to take more look at it. It sounds like a game to me, but I'll take a look at it. All right, guys, I will go ahead and hop out of here. Like the video down below and subscribe. Thanks for everyone tuning in, chatting. I'm always happy to answer the questions in the chat. And any altcoins you guys are looking at, like I said, 25% Bitcoin, 40% blue chips, 25% gaming alts, 10% speculative and low caps. And I truly think that that could be the mold, the framework for you to put together that potential 50 to 100x portfolio in the next cycle. I will catch you guys on the next one. As always, play well, my friends.